Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Well, we've now passed the 1-year mark since the onset of the most deadly virus in 100 years. We know the human toll, more than 500,000 deaths attributed to COVID-19, joblessness, which reached a frightening 20% at the height of the outbreak, businesses shuttered, the off switch flipped on life as we knew it. So how well have we recovered from that dark and forbidding time? What remains to be done? When can we expect the economic devastation wrought by the pandemic to fully and finally pass? For answers, we turn, as always, to our economics guru from LibertyNation.com, the widely heralded Andrew Moran. Welcome back, Andrew.
Well, thank you. Your introductions keep getting better and better.
Well, thank you in return. Always good to have you. So let's start with the recovery from COVID to date, starting with the U.S. How well have we recovered, and how have the actions of the fledgling Biden administration helped or hurt in the recovery?
Well, when it comes to Bidenomics, I think it's too early to judge if President Biden is presiding over a good economy or a bad economy, just because he's only been in office for about 2 months, and much of what he wanted to enact, hasn't come to fruition. So I think when it comes to grading Biden, give him 6 months, maybe a year, and then judge him on that record. But when it comes to the overall broader economy, Jerome Powell, he's ahead of the Fed, and he said on an NPR interview recently that he's impressed by the recovery. And if you look at some of the main numbers, you could believe that the economy is doing well. The recent GDP for the fourth quarter, it advanced better than expected by 4.3%. Just on the Thursday, the initial jobless numbers, they fell to a more than 1-year low of 600,000. All the purchasing manager index readings, or the PMI, which measure economic trends, they're doing well. I mean, they're above the expansion point of 50. So, on the surface, everything's doing well. But at the same time, you have to be cautious, because all of this is being done with the trillions of dollars in fiscal and monetary stimulus and relief. So, what's going to happen when that starts tapering off, at least from the monetary side, when, the Jerome Powell or his successor decides to start tightening, which, could be a while. But, there's already talk of tapering this, multi-trillion dollar quantitative easing efforts. So the economy is on training wheels right now. Once those training wheels are off, who knows, the bike will just, fall off and scrape some knees, or have, major hemorrhaging that will need some stitches in a nearby hospital.
All in all, what you've said is pretty encouraging. So let's broaden this out a little bit, Andrew. The U.S. national debt is now close to $30 trillion, almost unthinkable. And as we're discussing, we're coming out of a very dark period. But Joe Biden and the Democrats have big plans which will require big tax increases. How would a tax increase of any kind affect the current recovery?
Yeah, well, the U.S. economy is quite fragile right now. So any significant tax hike, which I think the reports are calling it the biggest federal tax increases or reforms in 30 years. So that's pretty concerning. And everyone is treading on water, or on thin water. Unless you bought stock in AMC or GameStop, or GameStop, excuse me, I think you're probably losing sleep at night over your financial conditions. But it's not only the federal tax situation that people should be worried about. It's also the state and local governments that have had enormous spending over the last year to help their people recover or stay afloat. So in the years to come, they're going to have to start paying the bills, and they're going to see these massive people are going to see these massive tax hikes, property taxes, water hikes, whatever the case, whatever these states and local governments face. And then of course you have the most egregious, in my opinion, tax of all, the inflation tax. That's when you have a depreciating purchasing power and higher prices, and people who are gonna who live paycheck to paycheck, they're gonna see these astronomical price hikes at the grocery store. Every sector of the economy is gonna witness enormous price hikes, and the U.S. dollar is losing its value. So that's what I'm most concerned about. And then, of course, the fiscal tax situation at the federal level.
Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Andrew Moran, economics guru from LibertyNation.com.
Hi, Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Mark Angelides, Sarah Cowgill, Tim Donner, and Scott Cosenza, and this is Liberty Nation.
Now let's take a look at the LibertyNation.com electoral leaderboard. It's still 238 for Joe Biden.
What if stories and legends can offer us the key to unraveling the hottest political issues of the day and apply their lessons to understanding the chaos of modern politics?
Impeach 45!
Only where freedom of speech is honored can people who look, sound, or think differently be truly free.
If you're discussing something that's difficult, the probability that you're not going to offend each other is zero.
President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump is now president.
With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
LibertyNation.com.